provide the model for countless Tuscan churches. The Florentine poet Dante was baptized here. Although in Dante's day the building lacked most of its marble veneer, the campanile did not exist, and the work on the Duomo had only just started. But the baptistry of San Giovanni is one of only 3 churches in the city mentioned by the poet. The doors of this baptistry are perhaps its most celebrated feature, and the bronze doors in front of you are the most famous. They were cast by Lorenzo Ghiberti between 1425 and 1450. They were called by Michelangelo the Gates of Paradise. They are considered Ghiberti's masterpiece. These bronze doors are replicas of the original that are in the Museo dell'Opera del Duomo, but the casts are fine enough to appreciate Ghiberti's achievement. The use of perspective and careful modeling create a fascinating narrative of the Old Testament events. If you move in for a closer look, you will see, starting from the top left panel, the creation of Adam and Eve, and continuing to the right, Cain and Abel, Noah's Ark, the story of Abraham, Jacob, and Esau, the story of Joseph, episodes from the life of Moses, the story of Joshua, the story of Saul and David, and the Temple of Solomon. Spend as much time in front of these doors as you like. When you're ready to continue, turn around to face the cathedral. You should be in front of the steps leading into the cathedral. An older Florentine church had been built sometime in the 5th century and named for a 12-year-old female martyr named Santa Reparata. The new cathedral, built by Arnolfo di Cambio, was to be called Santa Maria del Fiore, Saint Mary of the Flower. But almost no one ever called the cathedral Santa Maria del Fiore. For centuries after it was built, it was still called Santa Reparata. And after Brunelleschi added the enormous cupola in the 1420s, it was simply called the Duomo. Santa Maria del Fiore was begun in 1294 when Florence was emerging from the dark medieval ages. It was to express in its size and splendor the new Florence. Its vast interior was designed as the city's greatest public and communal space, capable of holding 30,000 people at one time. The work on the building was interrupted in 1302, when Di Cambio died. 32 years passed before the Guild of Wool appointed the painter Giotto to succeed Di Cambio. Giotto's first love, however, was the construction of the campanile, or bell tower. He lavished most of his attention on the construction of the lower portion of the campanile until his death in 1337. Let's walk over there now. Inlaid with pink, white, and green marble, it is decorated with bas-reliefs designed by Giotto and executed by Andrea Pisano. It tells the story of the creation, the fall of man, and his redemption through work. You will see Eve emerging from Adam's side, a drunken Noah, and various professions including building, shopkeeping, and weaving. In 1420, Filippo Brunelleschi was chosen to build the crowning glory of the cathedral, the cupola. Brunelleschi's obsession was perspective, and he mastered the understanding of line and vanishing points beyond any of his contemporaries.
But Ghiberti, who worked on the bronze doors right across the street in the baptistry, was selected to work as a co-foreman with Brunelleschi. This did not go well with Brunelleschi, who considered himself a master designer. But Ghiberti was well known in the art field and the guilds, and so they gave him this job too, gave him the same pay.
It is well documented that Brunelleschi and Ghiberti did not get along. Brunelleschi kept the plans and models hidden and feigned illness at critical times to expose Ghiberti's incompetence. When the workmen would ask Brunelleschi how they were to proceed, he would say, "Go find Lorenzo."
And Ghiberti was forced to show up at the work site, but he had very little to say on how to continue on the progress. He had no model, he had no plan, he had not a clue how to finish. And after a short while, Brunelleschi got back to work and continued the project.
The great compliment of the Duomo came from Michelangelo himself, who, it seems, looked at the cupola and said, "Io vado a Roma per far la tua sorella. Più grande sì, ma non di te più bella," which means, liberally translated, I go to Rome to make